Okay, so time to check on this tank. See what's going on. We've got a big dovey eye. We've got a big plecostomus. We've got a buttercoffer eye. A couple of big Oscars, zebras, a jaguar, Braziliensis, angelfish, tinfoil barbs, silver dollars. Now you'll notice in this tank are new babies. You'll notice that all these fish get along that don't normally get along. Like you would never imagine a angelfish swimming around with a buttercoffer eye or large Oscars or even a jaguar. But because this tank is so big, it basically doesn't, all the same rules don't really apply. So I'm getting more experimental and adding more fish today. But basically, once again, because the tank is so large, you can get away with what you consider to be murder for a normal tank. Now, getting a glass cleaner would be a great idea. So there are very large magnets that mean that we don't need to keep sending the diver in. But anyway, haven't been here for a while, and besides the fact the glass needs a clean, it all looks really good. It needs a top up, but I'll arrange all that right now. Now see, with this tank behind me, there's been a lot of evaporation since last time I've been here. Now that's completely expected. But what you need to know is that when I top the aquarium up again, that is not in any way, shape or change a water change, because the water will evaporate, but all the nutrients will concentrate in this water. So when you're topping up a tank, you are not doing a water change, you're just doing a top up. The other thing to consider is when you're topping up, you don't add any salts, because the salts will also concentrate. So what I'm doing at the moment is taking a bit of extra water out. So the water that I take out is included as a water change. The water that I top up because it evaporated is not included as a water change. Generally a water change once a month will keep it under control, but the other thing that you can keep an eye on is your nitrate levels, because if your nitrate starts to come up, then you'd want to do more water changes. This beautiful fella here is a Frederick Starley. A big fella like this is not that common in Australia, and this guy's got beautiful colour on him. If the glass was cleaner, you'd really get to appreciate how beautiful that fish really is. I'm definitely noticing growth in the fish too, particularly the tinfoil barbs and the jaguar. They're getting nice and big. Now, believe it or not, the most time-consuming thing about this job is filling up the tank. So the very first thing I do when I get here is to start the water change and start filling the tank up, because I need as much time as possible to get that filled. Because when you got a tank this big, it's thousands and thousands of litres that you're just topping up. And considering your average hose pumps about 3,000 litres an hour, depending on your pressure, it's probably going to do about 6,000 litres an hour, which means it's probably going to be about an hour to fill this tank up. So that's why I get going straight away. Fish health is actually very good. Fish are actually looking very good. Some of the fish are pairing, some of the fish are showing signs of breeding. Now once again, I haven't been to this service for a little while, and the sand is looking quite dirty. So I think I'm going to have to book in sooner than later to come and arrange a gravel clean and a filter clean. Now you would think that's a very simple job, but obviously with a tank this big, that means that I need to send somebody in the tank to literally do the filter clean and gravel clean. So I've come to check on the tank today, and I've come to add some new fish, and I wanted to find out how dirty it was. And in general, I'm very happy with the fish health, but the gravel is very dirty. So I'll be back hopefully next week to sort that out. What do you think, dog? They look yummy? Okay, so I'll just show you what we've got here to put in the tank now, to acclimatise into the tank. We've got a big golden plecostomus. Got a beautiful big red green terror. We have got some tangerine zebras, which are the orange ones. We've got, so there's 4 of them. There is 3 large silver dollars, and there's 2, 4, 6 ACI, which are a beautiful schooling cichlid. So all of these should look quite good in the tank. Now what else we're putting in there, just because we can, we've got a big geophagus. We've got 4 tinfoil barbs and a koi angel and a guami, just for fun. Once again, none of these fish would normally go together, but because the tank is so big, And because we've had such success mixing the fish, we're getting very creative here. And we're putting in fish basically because they're available and the tank needs stock. And when you have a tank this big and you need to put big fish in, it's not like you have a huge array of fish to choose from time to time. Because the only time you get fish like this into the shop is when people trade them in. It's not like you can go to a supplier and just buy large fish. That's just not how it works. So sometimes you've got to take what you can get, and there's some beautiful fish here. All this fish talk has made the dog decide to go for a swim. I can't blame you, pal. That looks so nice. Makes me want to go for a swim. Fish keeping really is 50% about water quality and 50% about nutrients. So good quality food is really half the battle to keeping fish, and I'm always very happy that whenever I'm over here, I see very high quality food. You cannot beat Danichi. Now, it's not uncommon that I will do advice for someone and I'll get them onto good quality food, and then after a while they seem to gravitate back to the cheaper options, and then I do not see the same results within the fish or the tank. It is my advice that you stay with high quality foods, and my favorite foods is Danichi, and I also really love Spectrum's probiotics. So my little mate here thinks it's funny every time I've got that grid open to access the fish tank. My little buddy here loves finding things to throw in the fish tank. That's fun, isn't it, pal? Keep up the good work. So the water quality in this tank at the moment is the pH is nice and high, about 7.8. The GH is 10, so I'm going to add a little bit of GH buffer just to raise that a little bit. Even though I'm happy with 10, I'd prefer it to be higher. The KH is 9, so I'm not going to add anything for that. There is no ammonia, there's basically no nitrite, and there's a little bit of nitrate, so an extra water change wouldn't hurt. In general, the water is holding up very good, and the health of the fish is very good. Just could do with a bit of a gravel clean and an extra water change. Now, every time that you add new fish to a tank, what you want to do is spend a little bit of time monitoring how they get along. Now, this is a very good idea, but in this particular tank, because the tank's so big, we've got very little ability to do anything about it. And luckily, because there's quite a lot of fish developing in here now, and it's such a big tank, generally everything does get along. So let's have a look at how everyone's going. Here is the golden plecostomus. He is a champion because he will go around and help us get the glass clean. Now, if you look carefully across that, or perspex, not glass, you'll see little bite marks where the plecostomus have gone around and cleaned off the algae. Now, obviously, due to the amount of algae that has started growing in here, it's too much job for one plecostomus. So we've added another one now, hoping that will work. Now, the other thing that I've noticed down here too is there's a pit that's getting dug. So the Oscars or various fish will often dig pits in the gravel. There's one there, there's one there, there's one there. And what they do is when they breed, they transfer their young to that pit, which makes it easier to look after the babies. Now, we've added some smaller tinfoil barbs. The bigger ones were already in there, and they look like they've settled in very well. And you can see that these fish have formed a little bit of a school. Fish form schools for their own security. There's the new silver dollars. They're settling in very well. There's the zebras. They're settling in very well. There's the new angel. So all the fish appear to be, there's the green terror. Everyone seems to have settled in very well. Now, the other thing you'll notice about fish too is that as you get more fish, they tend to get along better. If you don't have many fish in the tank, the differences between individual personalities become apparent. Now, there's the Guami up there. He just hit the jackpot coming into this tank. So this tank, as far as normal fish tanks concerned, is like an inland sea. It holds about 20,000 litres of water. So the fish that go in here are the ones that won the lottery. And on top of the fact that this tank is so big, the fish also tend to get along very well in this tank. So these fish are the fish that hit the jackpot. Because if you're a fish and you're going to live in a fish tank, this is the fish tank that you want to live in because of its sheer size. And this tank has a lot of action. So there's a lot going on in this tank. So you find that you can just sit here for ages and be totally entertained. Now, the other thing you'll notice about this tank is it has very, very good surface vegetation. And good surface agitation is absolutely paramount to any aquarium, because if the surface is flat, you will get high surface tension, and therefore your gas will not exchange very well. In this case, you can see that the surface is very well broken, and those air stones are really dragging the water up from the bottom. So this is absolutely ideal. So my job now is to let the aquarium fill up. It's a pretty tough job. And in the meantime, I can have a good eye on the fish. And it is very relaxing. So if I did have the magnet cleaner, I could clean the glass right now. But as it stands at the moment, I actually need the diver to clean the glass. And I didn't bring the diver today because I wanted to just check on the tank and add some fish. I am happy with the water quality. I'm happy with the quality of the fish. The only two things that I want to report on and fix as soon as possible is how dirty the gravel is. And I would like to give it an extra water change, which is not urgent. So as you can see, everyone's playing very well together now. And I actually don't expect any problems at all. Once again, due to the size of this tank, you can get away with murder. Anyway, put a little note in the comment section and let me know if this was your tank, what would you add?